from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are excited to have Dr. Kay Fontana joining us here, the founder and life force coach from Healing Our Grieving Hearts. That's healingourgrievinghearts.com. She's really compassionate and dedicated to help so many people with grief recovery and so much more. So we're going to get to know her today and, of course, talk more about her mission. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Well, thank you so much, Jill. I am great, and it's good to be on your show. Thank you so much.
Well, we're excited to have you here, hailing from beautiful Sun City, Arizona.
Yes.
But you're not working with people just in Arizona, right? You're able to work with people all over the world, in a sense.
Right, exactly. Because I do online coaching, I do online programs, and so I can reach anyone.
Perfect. And I know for today we're going to talk more about this life force coaching and energy healing you provide, grief recovery, and so much more. But first, I would like to get to know you, if you don't mind. Tell us a little bit about your background and, kind of walk us through how you got here to helping others this way.
Well, great. Well, I became a certified life coach back in 2006 and a licensed spiritual practitioner and grief recovery specialist about 10 years ago. And just recently, last January of 2023, my husband passed away. And so before that, I had been doing work with individuals on grief recovery and helping them either in groups or individually, work through their grief. And then my husband had a lot of health problems. And for the last couple of years of his life, he wasn't, I wasn't really into that mode of helping people with their grief because I was really focused on his health and dealing with that. So about 6 months after he died, I had this calling that I needed to return to grief work and help women in their grief as they've lost their husbands or soulmates or partners, whatever they want to call them. But I was really inspired to help them navigate through grief and help them find purpose in their life like I did.
Beautiful.
And so that's how that's when Healing Our Grieving Hearts was born.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that. Sorry what you went through, but it also brought a new path for you and a new journey to help so many people. So I know you always look to the positive side, right? And
Absolutely. It took a while, but I got there.
Oh no, that's beautiful. It really is. So you're now helping clients, in a sense, find what you had to find, and go through with that personal growth and transformation. So you're also, I just want to ask you about this, a licensed spiritual practitioner as well, right? Could you just share what that is?
Okay, so it's actually like spiritual coaching. It's meeting with clients, and my licensed spiritual practitioner, my license comes from the Centers for Spiritual Living based out of Colorado. And I went through an extensive training program to work with clients in healing their issues through spiritual practices and prayer.
Wow.
So it's more of a spiritual based program. And, some may not be into that spiritual aspect of it, but it's an option for clients if that's what they want to, if they want to choose that.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that. And let's get started and talk a little bit about, the work that you're doing. Starting with the life force coaching, I know you wanted to kind of start with that for today. What is it all about? And let's talk about the people that are in need of this and the things that they could benefit from to work with you.
Absolutely. Well, I recognize that we are all composed of energy, and which forms our essence or our life force. And so I use a diverse collection of tools to help people find their, tap into their inner wisdom so that they can unfold some answers to some of their most pressing questions. And, mainly I work with people with, who are having issues with grief. And so life force coaching really taps into, what they, what their goals are, what they want to achieve, and how they want to move past all this. And sometimes it takes a little reflection on where they are right now, where they want to be, and how they're going to get there. And so, it's a lot of questions and inquiry about where they want to go and how they want to achieve that.
Beautiful.
And so we don't really focus so much on the how at the moment, but mainly of the what. What is it that they want out of life? What is their purpose? What is their mission? What is their life goals, after loss?
And it's never too late, right? I feel like since the pandemic, I've been inspired. I know so many people who've been, they had to change careers up and at them and realize this was like insane. I still think about it all the time because so much of us have changed and we went through so much, never thinking in this day and age that we could go through something like this, lose so many lives and realize the value and how precious life is, right? So it's never too late. So to start doing what you love. And I'm a believer in that.
It's never too late. And, sometimes people, experiencing grief, they've held on to it for so long, for years, sometimes decades. And they're just kind of consumed in that grief because they don't know where to go. And it's basically from our culture that we don't really recognize grief that well. We don't handle grief that well. People want to sweep it under the rug and they don't want to talk about it because they don't know how to respond to people who are grieving. And actually there's like 40 different types of grief. And as you said, from the pandemic, people are grieving the loss of friendships, the loss of jobs, the loss of loved ones. And there's so many ways that, so many situations that can cause people to grieve. And like I said, some hold on to it for a long time.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you for sharing that. And also, I know you do the life force coaching, but there's also, I've read on the website about the Healing Hearts program. What is that? That's one of the...
Well, it's the Healing Our Grieving Hearts is like is my business. It's Healing Our Grieving Hearts. And so in my business, I do the life force coaching. I also do energy healing and grief recovery. And so it's kind of all encompassing.
Wow.
And it really depends on the person's situation and what I find would be the most beneficial to them at that place, at that moment.
Perfect. Well, would you mind discussing an example or two of someone that has gone through the Life Force coaching program, some of the things that they've accomplished, and, have they felt after? Because I know there's some great testimonials, on the website. But would you mind sharing a story or two?
Yeah, sure. Well, one client that I worked with, she had experienced multiple losses in her life, and different relatives in her life, and she was feeling kind of stuck, and it was also affecting her health. Mm-hmm. And so by addressing her grief using the grief recovery method and some coaching, she was able to heal one of the main losses that she had experienced in her life many, many years ago, and was able to move forward. And she is like a whole different person. She says, I'm happy. I love life. I love my family. It was just an amazing transformation for her to be able to get past that loss that occurred, one of those that occurred decades ago.
Oh, my goodness. And then I was reading, on the website, there's one, someone wrote, let me see who they were, because I was reading them before. HP from Glendale says, when I first thought about focusing on changing my life, I only knew one thing. I didn't want to go to a traditional counselor. My goals were not to sit and talk about my problems, but actually change the way that I think about my life. So I would describe Kay as very nurturing, supportive, overall, a safe person for me to open up to. Not only has she helped me change and improve the way I think, she's knowledgeable and spiritually gifted. Kay has improved my life in many ways. I would highly recommend her to anyone who wants to grow and support her on their spiritual journey. Also, Dr. Kay is compassionate, knowledgeable in all areas of health, wonderful. This is from NLN. There's other people who, went through loss for the recovery, for the grief recovery program as well. But that kind of guided me over now to the spiritual side of things. And that's something else that you do with energy healing. Could you share a little bit about what this is all about?
Sure. Well, energy healing is, I just have this passion for energy healing, and this includes sound and vibration healing, Qigong, and Reiki. I'm a certified Qigong instructor through the Satori method and a Reiki master, and then recently received my certification in sound and vibration therapies, which entails, crystal bowls, gongs, chimes, and, anything musical that can help soothe the soul. And I've been doing that, and people have experienced just the reactions that they have from going through a sound bath is just incredible. They absolutely love it. They feel relaxed and rejuvenated. Qigong is amazing. Qigong not only helps physically, but also mentally and spiritually too, because it's really a meditative martial art, that incorporates breathing techniques and slow movement and meditation all in one. And I just absolutely fell in love with Qigong after trying other different types of martial arts, but this one really resonated with me, and it has so many health benefits. It's amazing. And Reiki too. Reiki is about being kind of like a conduit of energy from source to the client. And, you can either touch them physically or be above their body, but that intention of healing that individual and bringing energy to them, so that, because sometimes we have blocks of energy, and they're caused from trauma, they're caused from grief, they're caused from a multitude of things. But these blocks in our energy system can also create health issues, disease, and depression. So by using these energy healing techniques, we can open up those channels of energy that are blocked, and people feel that, they feel that they receive that guidance, and that I have a loss for words here, but
it's okay.
But they really feel that improvement in their health situation and their mental state just by opening up those channels. And I've experienced it myself when I've received those from other people. And it's just amazing.
Yeah. Well, hold on. And this could be done on the computer as we're doing right now, correct?
Yes.
Energy. And people say, well, I don't understand how energy healing works. By the way, I know someone who's used it for chronic pain. And that's probably just one of many things that it's used for. But could you just share some more examples of the things that we can use Reiki for? And it's amazing. We could transfer the energy just like this.
Yeah. Yeah. So Reiki can be used for, like I said, depression. It can be used for pain, discomfort, any kind of discomfort in the body. I've used it for my back issues, because I was a paramedic years ago, and I've had chronic back issues forever. And that and Qigong as well, are just phenomenal for back issues. Reiki can be used for just anxiety. It can be used for grief. It can be used for so many different things. And I think, anything that you feel is uncomfortable for you, or something that you're struggling with, Reiki, Qigong, and sound and vibration healing can help so much.
Got it. Well, thank you for that. And, I guess you do an overall assessment of someone, right? When you meet them, to determine what they need, or, right? Because they might need something different, and there's different Perfect. And, what else with, you mentioned sound baths before. Is that something you do in person where you are? And I don't really know what that is. Could you just share a little more details on that?
So with a sound bath, what I do is for an hour, I play crystal singing bowls, a gong, which is amazing, of an ocean drum, which is this drum that has these objects in it that make noise, and they sound just like the ocean waves. So it's very soothing and relaxing. And then I also have what they call koshi chimes, and there are different frequencies on each chime. And I have 4 of them, and I play them together. I can also play them individually. But another thing that I do is I can combine, like in person, I can combine Reiki with vibration healing. And what I do is, along with the Reiki, putting the hands on the body, I also do tuning forks. And the tuning forks by the ears, and in different places too. You can do them around the body as well. But a drum and the tuning forks, and also a Himalayan bowl, like this one that's right behind me. And that one actually puts on the body, and you hit the bowl with a mallet, and it vibrates through the body. And I did that a couple of weekends ago at a wellness expo, and people absolutely loved it. They said, "Oh my God, this is so amazing." They felt so relaxed and in touch with their body after they experienced it. So it's quite amazing.
Amazing. I love hearing this. And got to remind everyone how we can contact you since we're a little over halfway through. But Dr. K, that's Dr. K Fontana, go to healingourgrievinghearts.com. Is there a phone number you want to share, a social media page as well before we continue?
Oh, sure. My social media page on Facebook, it's Facebook.com/K.Fontana. And you said a phone number? I actually have to look at my phone.
It's okay. They can just go to the website. That's fine. No need.
They can.
No need. And one of the things you have a quote in your notes with us today saying, "Don't run away from grief, O soul. Look for the remedy inside the pain, because the rose came from the thorn and the ruby came from a stone." Who's that from?
That's from Rumi. And Rumi quotes are just amazing. I can't remember what century he lived in, but this quote really encourages us to face our grief rather than avoid it, because really the only way that you can heal it is to go through it. And so many people want to skirt around it and avoid it. And a lot of that is what I said before, is our culture. We just don't know how to respond to grief. So, within that pain, there is the potential for healing and transformation, just like, from the ruby and the rose. We can find that strength and resilience inside the grief, and really develop into something, that we want to do, something that, touching into that inner soul that guides us to where we should be. And, I really think that that's so important, because like I said, so many people just kind of stuff it away, and they also think, and I want to speak to grieving widows, is that, a lot of times they think that if they move forward, or they move on, as they say, that it's a signal that they're forgetting their husband. And you can never forget your spouse. You can never stop loving them. And that's not going to happen. Moving forward just means that you honor them while pursuing, your dreams, pursuing your purpose and your passion in life. And sometimes your purpose and passion in life comes out of that grief.
Yeah. Beautifully said. And I want to find out more about the grief recovery as well. If you could share, how working with you through this program does help. By the way, there's also, you can subscribe on the website for a grief recovery guide of some sort. Could you tell us a little bit about that too?
Yeah, there's a grief recovery. It's a free guide that you can download on my website.
Okay.
And it really addresses some of the many types of grief and, experiences that you might have in the grieving process. And the grief recovery method was developed by John W. James and Russell Friedman out of their own grief that they experienced. John W. James lost an infant child, and Russell Friedman had a business failure. And so he lost his business and he lost his home and so on. So they were both grieving different aspects of it. But the reason that they developed the program is because of the responses that they got from other people about their grief. It's like, oh, time heals all wounds, and, be strong for others, and don't feel bad. And, oh, you're young enough to have another child. And those things are less than helpful. They are. And so they went on this mission to find, how people grieve and what people are, if other people were receiving similar responses to their grief. And what he found is that there were many commonalities among people, regardless of if they lost a child, a parent, a spouse, a business, a home, or, any of the other 40 types of losses that they can experience. And so the participants in the program, whether they do it individually or in a group, they write completion letters at the end of the process to find closure. And they really address one specific loss that they've experienced. And it's one that probably is the most significant loss that they've experienced. And sometimes they go into the program thinking that they're going to heal one loss, and they end up realizing that, oh, you know what, this happened 30 years ago. I should probably take care of that one.
Absolutely.
It's a fabulous program, and I've had so much success with people that have gone through it. I can't think of anyone that has gone through it and said, oh, that was a waste of time. Because it was. It's not.
Oh, wow. Well, we have just a few more minutes left in the show. What else do you want people to know about you and your services today, Dr. K?
Well, I also have a podcast called Healing Our Grieving Hearts Podcast, and you can find it on any podcast platform. And on my podcast, I address different types of grief, and also different ways to heal. And, I really look in grief in a broad spectrum. I don't focus specifically on widows. It's a broad, compilation of, different things in grief. And, I also have a program that I'm going to be releasing here soon, and probably in a couple weeks. It's called Purposeful Living After Loss.
Okay.
And it is geared toward widows.
Okay.
And so the program is designed to help people not only find their true purpose and passion, but also honor their spouses and create that legacy of them. Because I think that is so important too. We really want to address their spouse too, but also address their purpose and passion. And so the program is going to be geared toward guiding women in that direction so that they can find their purpose in life.
Beautifully said. All right. Well, also, just to point out, you're available to work with people anywhere, right? This is virtual, clearly. Yes. And is there any upcoming workshops that you have in class that we should know about?
Just the Purposeful Living for Loss, and I will be putting that on my website, as well as, I'll be announcing it on Facebook when it's ready to be released. It's very close. And so I anticipate that I will be releasing it this month, and I'm really excited about it. And I think it would be of great value to people.
Beautiful. And let me just ask, we talk about recovery, about losing our spouses, loved ones. I've lost my mother. I've lost grandparents and friends. Never a spouse or child, God forbid, but that happens. And also, what about pets? Do people grieve with pets too, right? Is that something you help with?
Absolutely, yes. And actually, the Grief Recovery Method, the Grief Recovery Institute has a program that I'm also certified to help with, to teach, is on pet loss. And pet loss is huge. And, after, my husband died last January, well, my dog died 3 months ago. And it's like, really, but he was 13 and he had health problems too. But pet loss is so huge. Before I knew about the grief recovery program, my husband and I lost our pet, our dog of 12 years back when we lived in Washington. And it was probably the most devastating thing either one of us had gone through. Yeah. And so, yes, it's so important to address pet loss.
I know. I've lost so many fur babies, but I know I saw, because on your website you also you blog, and that was one of the blog articles that you wrote about animals too. So it's okay to grieve for them too, and we do need help with that too.
Absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
Well, let's stay connected. Obviously, healingourgrievinghearts.com. You can reach out there, and if they do reach out to you to schedule a session, you offer a free session, complimentary. How long is that session for?
It's 30 minutes.
Beautiful.
And it's basically to find out, what their loss is and how I can help, and if we're a good fit to work together. But it's 30 minutes. It's free. They can sign up on my website, and we'll schedule a time to do that.
Oh, thank you. This is awesome. I love what you have to offer, and we have just a minute left. So how did you want to end off for your show today?
Oh, I just encourage people that don't stuff your grief.
Okay.
Don't stuff it under the rug or in a backpack or anything like that. If you are suffering a loss, then I encourage you, no matter what direction you want to go, to seek help to heal that. If you're still hanging on to it and you are lost and don't know what to do, I encourage people to really focus on focusing on yourself and taking care of that grief.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Looking forward to the next time we get to connect. Pleasure having you here. And please reach out for that free initial 30-minute consultation. Dr. K. Fontana, that's healingourgrievinghearts.com. Search for us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube too, right? And your podcast. And where can we find the podcast again?
You can find the podcast on any podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of those.
Does it air?
Or you can go to my website. Oh, go ahead. Or you can go to my website on the media page, and you can find the.
All right. When is the next one? Do you have them live on the certain days, or are they all pre-recorded? When can we?
They're pre-recorded. My next one is this Saturday.
Okay.
And the title is going to be about using artistic expression for grief.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. Pleasure getting to know you today. Thank you again. And to all of our listeners and viewers, stay tuned. More of the show's coming right up.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2men2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ag Council.